Alright, hello. I actually have good news. Sooner than I thought, I was able to get modular systems into 1.9 and have begun work on some of the new stuff that we want to change. So I wanted to make this quick video because I've been working really hard on this and I wanted you guys to get a really early look at just exactly what's going on here. So as you can see, we're clearly in 1.9. Again, in the last video I said we were moving forward with that, and that is what we intend to continue doing. At the moment, most of my effort has been in the new models. So as you can see here, if you played in the 1.7 version of modular systems, these might look familiar, except now they are in 3D, and I think they look a lot better. And the whole reason I'm using Sortex right now is to demonstrate that it does respect resource packs. So it will take the hopper border and use that as its sort of box, and use iron block, and I have it coloring it based on what kind of thing it is. So here we have the solid power bank, the fluid, and RF power banks. And those three are what you use to fuel your furnace. And you can see we have the renderer on here. That's what this bar is for when there's stuff in the inventory, like lava. The liquids are special, and they actually render the lava texture on the bar. The rest are just a solid red bar for the moment. I plan to make RF like the energy bar that's in the inventory for Neotech, the sort of gradient from yellow to red, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with items yet. I'll figure out something. But if it stays a red bar, it stays a red bar. So as you can see here, if you're familiar with modular furnace, you can pretty much guess what I'm about to do here. I have a modular furnace core, and it looks a little bit different. The border is slightly different than it used to be, and trust me, that will not be the final border. It was used as a test border. It'll be along those lines, but there will be some noise added to it, and it'll be a little thicker just to make it look a little bit better. But I was using a simple texture because it now does connected textures on the big block. So as you can see, the entire structure uses a connected texture renderer over the top. It does have this sort of maze pattern overlaid as well. That will be a client config option. You can change it in-game to say I want this or I don't want this. So if you don't like this, you will just have the outline border and the normal looking blocks. But if you do like it and you want to make it easier to tell, as you can see here, if I'm really close, I can't see the edges there. And if you build a really big one, these edges will start to disappear as the block gets bigger. So if you want to be able to tell that this is part of the structure, that's what this overlay is for. It's meant to show you, hey, this is still part of the structure, even though some of them are really big and the border itself is now far away. This will help you differentiate for that. But again, if you don't like that, that is toggleable, and it'll allow you to do that. So, as you are probably familiar with, or if you're not, welcome to Modular Furnace. This is a modular furnace. Its speed and efficiency and multiplicity are based off of the blocks it is created out of. So you can see this one is faster. That's good. It's 15% faster. It is not as efficient, but the multiplicity is 0, and there are a few blocks I don't remember. Honestly, it's been a while since I've worked with modular systems, but I think bricks add multiplicity, so if I put those in there. Yeah, so now it'll do 3 smelting operations at a time, but you can see it very quickly started tearing into our speed and efficiency. So that's sort of the concept behind modular furnace, which used to be its own standalone mod, but now is part of modular systems, which includes other mods along the same concept. This mod is really my first mod I really got into. I had mob tools and a couple other tiny mods, but this was the first one I really decided to flesh out and make it the one that I really liked. And for a while it was my biggest mod until we worked on Neotech, and then that got a little popular because of the state of 1.8. But I still have a soft spot for this mod, and I hope that with 1.9 coming out, this will be the perfect time for it to rise and shine out, and everyone can see just how great it is. A lot of the features that were in 1.7 haven't been ported yet, such as the in-game GUI to configure block values, the JEI integration, but these are all fairly simple, and I plan to add those. At the moment, I'm just working on getting everything ported and then put into 1.9 so that I can start adding features again. So The way the furnace works, pretty simple. You have power banks. This is set to fuel priority 5, which is more than this one, which is set to 1. So it will try to use all of the lava before it will try to use all of the solid fuel here. So that is kind of how that works. So the furnace is pretty much updated, the model's updated, everything's good to go. Of course, when you break it, it deconstructs it and puts stuff back. The other block that has been updated as well is the crusher, and for some reason it's setting to active right now. I'll have to investigate that. The overlay for him is a little bit different. I'm not settled on this yet, so if it's different when you play with it, don't be surprised. So here we have the crusher. It does exactly what a Neotech crusher does. Essentially, that's where I actually got the code for the Neotech crusher, was from this guy. He has the same stats, but he also has a secondary output chance. Whenever I get around to the model, that's what this guy is right here. You will actually build him into the structure. Let's see if I can do that. Yes, I know these models are going to be missing, but just to show you that the value changed, you now have a 30% chance of a secondary output. So that will be coming soon. And of course, as before, if you try to build out of blocks that are not accepted, it will not form. Let's see here. What else we got going on? You may have noticed there is no storage system, and that is because in the prior video I mentioned some of the changes I want to make. I flat out deleted the old one. It had some pretty severe issues, especially with the movement into the new systems, that I just felt it'd be easier to start clean and go from there than to try to change that into the idea I have. Ideally, I want to finish porting modular systems into 1.9, which really only leaves me with the I/O and the secondary output models. The functionality is all in there. The I/O is going to need a little bit of tweak with the item handler because that didn't exist the last time we used it, but now it does, so I gotta have to go around that. But thankfully Bookshelf handles a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to our porting, so that's why Modular Systems has been fairly easy to get up and running. In fact, probably the hardest thing to do was not even these models and the connected textures, but these models. They were very frustrating because UV lock has changed pretty significantly when you are making baked models. So I made these manually in a JSON format, and this whole block here is defined in JSON except the iron block in the middle, and then I pass the JSON model into the baked block, make a quad for the block in the middle and color it, and then stitch it back in. If that made any sense to you, congratulations. Look at the code if you don't understand, if you're interested, and if you just want to know modular systems, then oh well. Just know it was very frustrating to get going, but now it works. These three will be retaining inventory when you break them, so you can pick this guy up, fill him up with fuel, put him in another structure. Same thing with this, it'll be a tank. You can pick him up, carry him around, fill it up, bucket it in, just like you would expect to with any other tank. So these kind of all work as storage systems as well. So this guy is just a tiny chest that only accepts fuels. I don't know why you'd want that, but if you do, there you go. This guy will store combustible fluids, and this of course will store RF. The battery will be bigger, and of course the user interface will change, as we have learned a significant difference with the RF API. And it looks like I got some Z fighting I need to investigate over there. But yes, very unstable. This 1.9 version, I am fixing things as I see them and updating as I can. So if you're interested, we do have a Jenkins link, teambrmodding.com. I think it's :8080, so the port's 8080. That has our Jenkins. You can go there. You can download the latest modular systems and play around with it. I will be actively updating it as best as I can. So if you see a lot of changes, or if you download one that's broken, check back again in a little bit and maybe I'll fix it. I can't always promise that I can get everything right the first time. That's why it's not released yet. But if you just can't wait and you want to stick it in your world and play around with it, feel free to. I have no problems with that. If you do play it, report any bugs to GitHub. I have to go through and clean up all the 1.7 bug reports, so please put 1.9 in the title if you decide to take this and play with it. I don't anticipate too many people doing that, so I'm not too concerned, but if you do want to help, it would mean a lot because I'm only one person and there's a lot of mod in this. It's not as big as Neotech, and with the trimmed out stuff it's actually kind of small, but there's still a lot that has to be checked. These guys are multi-blocks, so they have some more advanced functionality, like right-clicking up here. So issues that we may not have had in previous versions might start cropping up because this version of Modular Systems is ported out of 1.7. So there is some significant difference. If you're aware, I mentioned it briefly once or twice. We did have a working 1.9 or 1.8, sorry, port working, but I decided not to release it because of the severe issues we were having with the storage system, and I felt that it was not necessarily a mod people were looking for at the moment. But with 1.9 out, I really wanted to get it back. So here you go. You're going to have Modular Systems in 1.9, and hopefully I'll be able to show you a complete version within another day or so. And I'll go over some of the basics of the mod, and we'll actually do a release. So keep your eye out for that. This is just an early sort of developer preview of what we're doing. If you want to work with integrating with us, I can't remember, I believe we had a registry where you could set your blocks to not be allowed into the structure. But again, we're porting and we haven't personally worked with this mod in quite a long time, so I got to really get back in and learn everything that we had. And as it starts to rain, I'm going to go ahead and say that's all I have for the moment. If you have any questions, again, feel free to comment. Go over to the forums. I have one set up for Modular Systems. It's an old mod, so there's a lot of people that have posted there. I think there's like 47 something pages. So just skip to the end and I'll see it. And aside from that, I'll hopefully see you guys in a couple days with the spotlight on Modular Systems for 1.9. Alright, goodbye.